Bring in Fox News analyst Charles Krauthammer in Washington and some thoughts on what we know right now. Charles, what's the most important thing you've seen so far?
I think what this night does is it completely explodes the mythology of the meaning of the '08 election. You remember after the '08 election, people talked about realignment, about a new era, about the Republicans becoming a rump party of the South, even losing parts of the South, how this was the death of conservatism. All of these theories about everything that happened in '08, now we see within a year what I think was obvious even at the time. '08 was an exceptional election, extremely unusual, a candidate with charisma, the first African-American, the co-ed swooning in the aisles as he spoke at universities, a huge increase in African-American turnout. You had it occurring at a time of economic collapse. You had the Lehman collapse 6 weeks before the election. All of this unpopular presidency, 2 wars, and still the Democrats only win by a margin of 7. Here we are a year later, and we can see how ephemeral and how one-shot '08 was.
All right.
Now, look at Virginia. Well, if you look at Virginia, where McConnell is now ahead by about 20 points, and Obama was ahead by 5, that's a swing of a quarter of the electorate.
Karl Rove and I basically said that health care is now hurting the Democratic Party. It's hurting. Do you concur?
Absolutely. What's really interesting is that in Virginia, health care is the second highest, most important issue if you ask the voters. Now, that's relatively unusual. In much of the country, it's lower down. I think it's because Virginia is in the Washington media market, so it gets all of these national issues every night broadcast. So you've got it at 20%, just below the economy as the most important issue. It clearly hurt the Democrats. It clearly is hurting around the country. But I think most especially in Virginia, where you would not have expected it to rank so high in terms of concern.
Now,
and it feeds into the meme. It feeds into the idea of an Obama, a Democratic administration, overreading the mandate in '08 and deciding it's going to remake America as a result of a mandate it never had.
Well, it's also an inefficiency on the part of the Democratic Party when you kick out a 2,000-page bill that nobody can understand, a mishmash of God knows what. Americans get I'm angry. I want health care reform. But I don't want this. Nobody knows what this is, and it may bankrupt the country. And then ties into the confidence in the president. Now, I see, and I see in the polls, a diminishment of confidence. Now, when Barack Obama wrote in, the confidence level was high. Here's a guy who's going to be able to do it. He can handle a job. It's a tough job, but he's bright, and he can do it. A year later, I think that confidence level is down 25%.
Look, he came in, he was a conjurer. He was a magician. He spoke in a way nobody had spoken. He had the country sort of at his feet. Yes, we can. You had crowds chanting these childish slogans. It looked like Chinese, the Cultural Revolution at times. And all of a sudden, people wake up. And they wake up because we've now had a year of real governance. You can't just speak. You can't go. He's given 29 speeches on health care. And every time he gives a speech, its support diminishes. Why? Because if you talk about health care in the abstract, he sounds okay. But there comes a time when you actually have to produce a bill. You can read a bill, and the bill has numbers on it. And the assessment, the CBO comes in and gives an assessment on the numbers, and it says it's going to be $1 trillion, and the country is going to go bankrupt as a result. And people understand that speeches and all of this stuff he gave us a year ago is what a candidate does. But as a governor, as a person who's in office and governing, his administration and the Democrats in Congress has given us monstrosities, a stimulus, which was $1 trillion, a wish list of liberal ideas and paybacks, and now $1 trillion in health care.
It is. It's frightening as far as down the road what's going to happen to the U.S. dollar. Final question now. If Corzine wins in New Jersey, which is certainly possible, then the White House is going to declare victory. What happens in Virginia is not going to matter. Upstate New York's probably going to go to the conservative Republican. But if they hold on in New Jersey to the Democratic seat, the governor is a Democrat, Obama's going to go, hey, we didn't get hurt, right?
That's right, and the mainstream media will go along with that because it'll look like a 2-to-1 split. But the fact is that New Jersey is a hugely Democratic state. Obama won by about 15 points. Even if it is a dead heat, Corzine squeezes out a victory. It's a swing of 15.
Right.
It tells you that the 08 effect, it's an 08. Look, the inside the White House, whatever is said in public, it's going to be a wash. They're going to announce in public.
Right. They're never going to. I got it. Charles, I got to run.
Inside, they're going to be scared to death.
All right. I appreciate it. The Factor will be right back to wrap things up in just a moment.